All right, let's get going, guys. Again, we're bringing on Joe Stolte, our beloved brethren in the Elite 100, to present his AI company. Some of you have seen this in California, but we're going to take a deeper dive here, get into what it is. And Joe, I made you co-host, so go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Brian. Good to see you, Len and Michael. I'll hopefully see many more of you on the replay here. You guys can see my screen okay?
Yep, we got you.
Rock and roll. All right. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joe Stolte. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Daily.ai. And for those of you that were able to see the presentation last weekend at Access Insiders, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is actually more specifically focused for an investment audience. And I always like to start off these discussions with the team, right? Because people don't necessarily do business with machines, they do business with other people. And so, rather than reading you this whole slide, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. My background, I'm a fifth-time founder. I've had 3 exits. I've had 2 miserable losses. I learned far more from my losses than I did from my exits, not surprisingly. Kind of the brains behind our team on the technical side is Morgan McDermott. He's been writing code since he was single digits in age, and all he's ever done is machine learning and AI stuff his entire career. Some other faces on this slide, don't need to go through every one of them. Because I'm a fifth-time founder, I like to recycle talent. A players know A players, so I like to take all the best A players I have from the last company that we sold, tell them what I'm up to, and see if any of them want to join me again. Not picture on this slide, there's several more people in that regard. Other folks that are on the team, they're at the board level, are Dr. Peter Diamandis, who is the co-founder of the business. He's the founder of X Prize and Singularity University, multiple New York Times bestselling author, sort of an expert in futurism, as well as Eben Pagan. For those of you guys that know Eben, may or don't not know Eben, Eben is he's a very kind of prolific early marketer on the internet. He had done over $100 million in sales by 2010. So just a kind of a pioneer of online selling, and just an incredibly wise guy, and has been doing a lot of seed and angel investing over the years since then. The actual original idea of the business came from Eben. So Eben has been thinking about some permutation of what we've been doing for years. And after I sold my last company, I started asking around, who should I meet? Who's working on something cool? I got introduced to Peter and Eben and Morgan. We started jamming. I became a co-founder, and I took over as CEO in 2021. Before we go into who we are and what we do, again, it's another one of those slides I like to start with to set the deck, literally and metaphorically. Back in 2018, the CEO of Google said something really profound that always stuck with me. He said AI is more important than fire or electricity. And at the time when I heard that, I just laughed it off as hyperbole. That's crazy. He's just saying something for the press. But the more I got into this business and this industry, the more I learned that he's right. And the more I learned that AI is going to be maybe the most important technological innovation that impacts us on a day-to-day basis. And I used to have to qualify that. Now I don't have to so much, right? After ChatGPT and all these AI tools hit the space, and AI is on everybody's collective consciousness. But even that being said, I think some people fail to see really grasp what it is that AI is going to do to our species. And it's really incredible. And we've basically decided to focus on marketing. Why is that? The last company I sold, we took from $900,000 in annual recurring revenue to $8 million in 2.5 years. And the way that we did that was primarily on the back of email. We were in a regulated industry. We couldn't purchase traffic and buy ads. So we kind of did the old school way, a little bit of direct mail, a whole lot of email. And the more I dug into email, the more I realized it's really a pain in the ass. The vast majority of small businesses, those with less than 100 employees, use email. 80% of them use it as their primary customer acquisition source, but over half of them spend multiple weeks to make a single marketing email. Over a third of that time is spent on what do I put in that email or in that communication. And even after they do that, their open rates, the people that actually open the email and see it, are like 11 to 20%, depending on your industry. If you're getting above a 20% open rate on your email and you've got a decent sized audience, you're very good at what you do. Congratulations. Most businesses don't achieve that. However, 80% of small businesses rely on email. right? Usually when I do this discussion in a keynote in front of hundreds of people, I'll say, hey, raise your hand if you use email in your business. Every hand goes up. And then I'll say, keep your hand in the air if you use TikTok for your business. And like 95% of the hands go down. So email's still the killer app. It's still where everyone does business, love it or hate it. And it still has a lot of opportunity to be improved upon. So what we've done is we've used machine learning, which is a form of AI. People call it AI, but it's a form of AI, to create automated email newsletters for thought leaders and small brands. I'll go into some of our customers here in a bit. But the punchline is that we're able to do that and actually give people something that most AI companies are not delivering, which is we're able to give them actual outcomes, not just outputs. What does that mean? We can get, on average, our brands and thought leaders 40 to 60% open rates. And I'll show you on this recording, we're getting far greater than that in some cases. We can deliver at any frequency, monthly, twice a month, weekly, even daily. I'll show you some daily examples. And then as a brand, you never have to write a single content. So we basically, if you go back and look at this problem of all this pain in making content and sending it out, we just take that completely off your plate. And we're able to do that for brands and thought leaders in a way that takes up to maybe 5 minutes of their time per week once we get it going. Very simply, what's our secret sauce? This is our product. There's basically 4 main points here. The first one is that instead of actually writing fresh content, we curate the best content on the world, the best content in your particular market, and we amalgamate that in your brand, like under your brand umbrella. So rather than just writing stuff from scratch, we'll go get the best content in your market related to topics your audience loves that you'd be proud to publish, they'd be excited to read. We save a bunch of time, we get a much better result. The second thing, and the more important thing, is we do what's called adaptive learning. Every time anybody clicks on anything in your newsletter or opens it, the AI is getting smarter and smarter and smarter. Not in general, the way, let's say, like a chat GPT does, but specifically for your business, your audience, your email, your marketing. The next big differentiator is that every piece of content that's synthesized or curated is done in your branded voice. So if you're funny and silly and like progressive, then it'll write in that capacity. If you're academic and serious, then your tone will be academic and serious and professional, etc. But we can do that by scanning your website or looking at your previous email communications and instantly model your brand. The last thing we do is, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't turn into cash. So we allow ads in our newsletter that the AI helps write. And then that helps convert your attention that you're getting with these better open rates to actually generate leads and sales for your business. Those are the 4 kind of big differentiators of our product. There's a lot more to it, but these are the big ones. And sometimes I get the question, well, why now? I just try to answer the question, why email? Why? Because email is a pain in the ass and no one's focusing on it the way we are. Why now? Well, it's basically 3 trends that are converging that make this really interesting opportunity, right? First of all, we all know that inflation is driving costs up, that hidden tax that we're all paying more on. Well, it's not just us as investors and operators, it's all of the people that buy from us, right? Also, layoffs are going up and to the right. It's certainly spiked in tech, where now we're starting to see more of these in the marketplace. And that's really creating this space of people want to do more with less. That's just the norm. When things get tight, they want to do more with less. Combined with things that are happening in the technological space, now it's easy for anyone to get commercial access to what's called a large language learning model, which are these big AI models like ChatGPT. These are moving beyond text, and we're running into the case situationally where an AI can do things better than a human can in more and more use cases. And I expect that to continue to be the case. And lastly, from a social perspective, like trust in brands is at an all-time low. Big business, being rich, having a lot of money, the big brand is getting hammered. Also, brands are acting like media companies. Having content in the marketplace, whether you're a big brand or a small brand, isn't nice to have. It's par for the course. It's like just it's table stakes. And also this proliferation of a bazillion types of AI content that's being created, that really creates and propagates this thing around the curator. In our case, it's the AI curator. Remember, I mentioned earlier, we don't write new content. We use AI to curate it for you. And so much new content is coming that we basically use AI to curate. And that really speaks to this pain. As more content comes out, the curator becomes more important. So when you put all these things together, it is like this, in all times I've been an entrepreneur, 5th-time founder, this is the most important wave I think we've ever caught, ever. And it's not just AI. There's a lot else going on around us that I think makes this a really good opportunity. not just for AI, but for AI at the intersection of email and owned marketing and owned media communications. Um, the market, I used to have to spend a lot of time justifying why this market was big. I don't anymore. First of all, the AI market is huge, but because we started this company or really took it to market, and I took over in 2021, we took it to market and in a small beta group in 2022. We actually did a bottoms up analysis of the number of small to medium sized businesses that are in English speaking markets. And we did some calculations on the total addressable market. I actually think we were incredibly conservative in our estimates here. I think this number is much, much bigger, but sufficient to say that this is a huge market. If we even got a fraction of this market in a B2B SaaS company and did an exit for the industry standard, which is an 8 to 14x multiple, this is there's tremendous upside on the investment potential here. So I think generally speaking, this market slide is to prove that there's a big enough market. There's a huge market here. Again, I think it might be bigger than this by at least 30%. But of course, we put the most conservative foot forward. This number I took, from probably 5 months ago. I think this number is bigger. Just like the CAGR, the compound annual growth rate for AI and the AI tools in the marketing and email space just keeps going up. But I think the main insight I want you to take from this slide is that it's a huge market and it's growing fast. The way we think about our competition is we think about it on a spectrum, right? So over here on the left side, we have what I'll just call like generative AI tools or AI copywriting tools. So you've got the Jaspers, the copy AIs, the writers, even you've got things like the Notion has now incorporated generative AI. And this is great because you can create all kinds of content, and that's awesome. But once you've created content, the real secret is did it work? Are you using data to see if that thing that you created actually got you the result in the marketplace? And in many of these cases, it's not. There's no built-in testing, right? Remember I said everybody that clicks on our newsletters, the AI gets smarter and smarter and it automatically learns on your behalf. Well, there's some of these tools are certainly doing this, but not all of them. Then on the other side of the spectrum, we have email newsletters. So you've got the Beehives. We just raised a nice monster round. They raised $12.5 million. They're crushing it. You've got the traditional players like MailChimp, and you've got some folks that are kind of in the middle, like Raza.io, whom most people haven't heard of. And I think all these folks are doing really good things in their market. But I sort of see these as better mousetraps, right? So you've really incorporated machine learning and AI at the core of what you do. You're really kind of building for yesterday's market. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone on this slide. I think all these folks are doing great work. They're certainly much farther down the football field from a valuation perspective than we are. So nothing but respect for them. We just see ourselves as the only person in the marketplace that's actually taking AI, machine learning, adaptive learning, and trying to deliver you an outcome instead of an output. And that's our main competitive differentiation. Again, is this competitive differentiation? Is this a moat that we can die on? No, I don't think so. And I think anybody that's telling you they have a true competitive moat in AI is maybe delusional because no one does. Maybe if you're Palantir, the key to differentiating and really getting ahead of the competition is speed of implementation and speed of customer acquisition, which I'll come back to. But this is how we think about the competitive landscape. Our vision is really simple. Actually, today, thus far, we've been focused on email newsletter automation. The next iteration of this is going to be personalized content automation. What does that mean? So today in our business, we have email newsletters that we've been creating for 2 or 3 years. We have such a rich data set on what each individual subscriber is clicking on that we're able to send those individual subscribers customized emails that get them to buy stuff from us, that get them to book demos for us. So if they click on AI and they click on marketing, then the email they get will be on AI and marketing. If the other person clicks on longevity and business, then the context of that personalized outreach email will be specific to how they've interacted with our newsletters. This is something we've been dogfooding for the last 100 days, maybe a little bit more than that. And we're rolling it out this year to our early adopters. So you'll be able to, in a push of a button, send thousands of personalized emails out to your list that are asking them to come do a sale, something in your sales motion. Watch that webinar, book a demo, buy the widget, etc. Once the network of our email newsletters and publishers is at a sufficient size, our vision is that we're actually going to turn this into a bid-based ad network. So imagine if Brian has a giant network of coaches and they're all on his newsletter, and I want to advertise to coaches. Well, I can actually just click a button inside the platform that tells the AI, I would like to reach these markets. Then the AI can go, oh, well, on the platform, we've got Brian and Michael and Dave they all reach your target demographic. Do you want me to write an ad, send a bid, and see if they'll accept it? And it will do all of that on your behalf. And if Brian accepts it, then my ad will end up in Brian's newsletter. He gets a rev share and he gets paid an ad model for that. And even Brian, if Brian's like, man, I don't want to look at all these ad bids. I'm just going to tell the AI, hey, if the bid's within this spectrum and it doesn't have anything offensive according to these parameters, just accept everything automatically and work it into my newsletter. So now we've got an AI automated bid-based ad network that our platform will take a vig on. Again, I would say this is probably like the post Series B phase of the company. This personalized content automation is going to keep us busy for at least another 18 months. But this is generally speaking the vision that we have for the company as things continue to unfold. The business model today is super simple. We're a B2B SaaS platform. We typically sell our agreements in they're annual agreements. You can pay monthly or you can pay upfront. We typically go to market through affiliates and third-party partners. When you take off all the affiliate commissions and different sales incentives, the average revenue per customer per month is about $700. Again, the business model in the future will include this ad network piece, but for the sake of today, we're a B2B SaaS company. It's very simple. Our traction is pretty straightforward. We've got about 85 paying customers. We've got just north of 2.6 million individual subscribers on all of our various publishers' newsletters, and we're just shy of 60K in monthly recurring revenue. Actually, this slide's not updated. We're just north of that. I'll show you a revenue slide here in a second. Big question I get from both investors and the marketplace is, yeah, but does this work with people that aren't famous thought leaders? Because we have a lot of New York Times bestselling authors on the platform, and that's typically who shows up in our marketing. And the answer is, yeah, we've got early adopters in over 20 industries, product-based businesses, lots of service-based businesses, coaches, consultants, real estate, registered investment advisors, venture capital firms, et cetera. And we've got our thought leaders, which is a really fast-growing segment for us. The investment kind of the investment profile, there was $1 million put into the company to start it before I came along. Then I came over and took over as CEO at the end of 2021. I raised just north of $1 million to build a team and take the product to market with a beta. With some pretty good people participate thus far. Like I mentioned, Dave and the Access Venture Funds invested. A small accelerator company called Untapped Ventures, Quex Capital. Human Bees was the #1 company on the Inc. 5000 a year ago. Dave Blunden runs a huge AI VC firm out of Boston. And then, of course, Eben and Peter are the original investors. Today, we're wrapping up a $2.5 million safe note. We've got about 750 and change remaining. Again, a lot of this is going to be spoken for from the pitch we did with the Stack Family Office last weekend, but there is some remaining, hence this call. We're doing this on a $12 million cap on the safe note, and for context, this 1.125 that I raised with no team, no product, no traction, no revenue was on a 10 cap. Very modest increase given the progress that we've made. There's a 25% discount in the price round, and we're closing on July 7th. The plan immediately after this is to do a priced round by September, middle of September of this year. The thing that really triggers the price round is getting to that 80 to 85K and monthly recurring revenue mark. That opens up really great terms for us, a whole new slew of high quality family offices and VCs. And what we're going to use the team for, we have 7 people on the team. We're doing a lot with a very small team, so we're going to basically invest in the product team to unlock that second phase of growth that I mentioned on the earlier slide. And that's pretty much it. There's one other thing I wanted to show. This is like an internal thing. I don't usually show this, but I'm happy to share a few bits and pieces. This is our trailing 7 revenue forecast. You can see we ended last year, which was a closed public beta, and around 32K. And we've just about doubled that. And we're forecasting to close this month at about 70K in gross revenue. So not quite the aggressive hockey stick, but certainly up and to the right. And then a lot of times people ask me, what does it look like? So here's an example. If you haven't seen this before, this is an email that we sent on behalf of Chris Voss, who's a well-regarded New York Times bestselling author focused on negotiating. Again, and now we're curating content. In this case, it's his content. Then it's an ad to buy a $1,000 workshop from him. And now we're going into other thought leaders and areas of interest that he thinks his audience would love. And it turns out they do. He has a wildly high open rate. And I'll show you some examples. So This is the newsletter we do for Justin Donald. It's got a 67% open rate, just north of 1,000 subscribers. Justin sells a $50,000 mastermind product. This is the newsletter we do for Chris Voss. You can see the open rate on his last newsletter was 88.47%. His average open rate is 75%. These results are definitely not typical. Chris is a freak of nature and everyone loves to hear from him. Our AI can only capitalize on the resonance that a brand already has with their audience. We don't manufacture that. We just work with what's there and we amplify it by learning over time. Full circle. This is like a private equity firm slash investment banking firm for mid-market companies that help them position themselves for an exit. It's a long sales cycle, decent size list, crazy high open rate. This is results not typical. We're just building on really good resonance there. This is Longevity Insider. This is the newsletter that we made for Tony Robbins and Peter Diamandis last year. They launched a book called Life Force. It's got just shy of 42,000 subs. The open rate typically sits at about 53%. It's being dragged down a little bit because today's edition just went out. Not everyone's opened it, but generally speaking, the average is closer to 50%. That's 20,000 people 5 days a week that read this newsletter. No humans interact with this newsletter in any capacity on our side. It's all automated. This is the newsletter we make for Joe Polish. Again, like his newsletter just went out yesterday. His average open rates are closer to 56%. This is Cameron Harold. You can see, again, his average open rates are closer to 64%. And on and on. This is another newsletter with a small audience. It's in its test phase. It's got nearly a 60% average open rate. Another one here. Average is 61%. This is Eric Van Horn. He's also an investor in the company. His market is about franchise businesses. This is Dane Maxwell, who's a friend of mine, and his average open rate is up in the 65% range. His target market is early stage folks that want to get into entrepreneurship. And this is the test phase audience for JJ Virgin's newsletter. JJ Virgin's a New York Times bestselling author, has a huge mastermind focused on the health space for medical professionals. Average open rate is almost 70%. So I could keep going. I just show those because I like everyone to see that the outcomes we're getting tend to vary across different use cases. And I like to make the point that if you've got resonance, we can really, really amplify that. But if you have no followers or no list and nobody wants to hear from you, we can't alchemize dirt into gold yet. But that's generally where we are. We're pretty early in our journey. But I think that we've got a very good pulse on where the puck is going in the marketplace, and we've done a good job of getting there, meaning we're giving people outcomes in the business instead of just showing them shiny AI tools that don't actually deliver and move the needle. So I'll stop. That was a fire hose of information, and if anybody has questions, we can dive into those.
I think we all do.
Fire away.
Yeah.
Great.
I was just wondering so I'm starting a new real estate title and closing business, and so I don't have like lists at this point. I mean, I know my target audience is. It's mortgage companies and real estate companies. So my question is, do you guys help develop those type of lists? And also, what's the cost when you're talking about a new company? Is it still that I saw you said $700, but I didn't know what that was. So
yeah, so a couple of questions in there. The strategy, if you don't have a list and you're trying to reach people and you want to use our service to do that, everything that I showed you is when the newsletter service is being used in the middle of the funnel. I already have a list. I want to engage them, and I don't want to spend a lot of time and energy doing that. And I want to use machine learning in an intelligent way to do that. And all the other things like increase my authority and brand value and thought leadership and trust as a result of that. If you want to use the same tool for a top of funnel strategy, meaning like get new people into your world and ecosystem, it works. It works the exact same way, but you're not going to see a 40 to 70 or 80% open rate because you're converting cold traffic. You're going to see lower open rates, but everything else is exactly the same. It's going to learn from what people click on or don't click on. It's going to automatically weed out the unengaged subscribers and double down on the ones that are engaged. So we have people, for example, that buy traffic and send traffic to their newsletter just to generate new leads. And then they stick conversion cards in there that are very compelling. So it's like, hey, we're going to do a newsletter on the future of real estate agents, or the future of real estate X. And in this newsletter, every day or every week, we're going to curate the best content. It's going to give you benefit. Subscribe here today. That's the ad. If you know how to buy media, you can get subscribers for less than $1 a subscriber. You get them on the list, you send them a bunch of value, and then you pop an ad in there. It's like, hey, are you a mortgage broker? Do you want to double your business this year? I don't know what your offer is, but you want to double your business this year in 90 days or your money back? I know that sounds crazy. Click here and watch this webinar that I created, or click here and jump on with my team. And they're going to see that, right? They might gloss over it a few times, but if you build enough trust with them, you're going to get a real crack at giving them the next bite. I wouldn't go from cold traffic to a newsletter to buy my stuff if it was high ticket or a high ticket service, but I might go from that to a newsletter to, hey, I'm doing an online event. It's absolutely free, designed to help brokers. You should check it out. Here's a quote from the last guy that came, something like that. And then on that event, you try to convert them over. Again,
Gotcha.
we just handle that middle part, that engagement on autopilot, that's high quality and imbues a lot of trust out of your audience. But again, the open rates are going to be much lower because you have to convince skeptical people. You're not riding on the existing momentum you already have. And the price is $12,000 for the year.
How much? What was that again?
It's $12K for the year, but we go to market through third-party partners. So a lot of times, those third-party partners will take an affiliate commission. We offer a 30% affiliate commission. A lot of times, those affiliates will pass either all of that or some of that onto their audience. So the price ends up not being $1,000 a month. It ends up averaging out at about $700 a month.
Gotcha.
So Michael, this could be a component in you building your coaching business. So that's what I'm thinking about with you. You know a lot, and you can guide this AI to like curate a lot of different content, a lot of different things from all the different experience. We were just talking about this today. We're going to do this in the Matrix, guys, just so you know, like we're all in on it. I didn't know we could pay monthly though. So that's good to know.
Yeah, you can pay monthly.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm gonna put you and Maddie on a text and greenlight it. That's no brainer.
Great.
Yeah. And then so I had some questions. And you actually answered how to attract new subscribers. We could run some ads to a free webinar with will you help us kind of position that in the funnel where the letter would be?
Yeah, so let me show you guys an example here. I think it goes without saying, we're in the elite world. I wasn't going to say anything. All those results that I showed you those are definitely not public, even though you have access to recording. We don't share that outside the tent. We build you a custom opt-in funnel when you join as an early adopter. Okay. This is the funnel we built for Joe Polish, right? So type in my name. And then when you opt in, it's going to pull you over here, and it's going to ask you, hey, which topics are you most interested in this newsletter? So the AI can begin to learn from your preferences. Then if you have a lead magnet, it's going to say, hey, before you go, invite 3 friends and get this free thing. Or no thanks, I'm out. Either way, if they say no thanks, so they invite their friends, it takes you to a final page with an offer. Hey, here's the freebie that you got, or no thanks. Okay, that's cool. Buy my book and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So why is that important? It's important for a handful of reasons. Number one, if you've got an existing list, this is how we can take one subscriber and turn it into more. If you're running cold traffic, we can, like my team right now is installing the Facebook pixel on this funnel so that Joe's team can run cold traffic to it and grow his list. Yeah, so I'll stop there. So you get a custom opt-in funnel with every, for people that sign up as early adopters, and then we'll work with you if you're buying traffic to put whatever pixel or Google Analytics or whatever you need to put on there, Google Tag Manager to track your conversions and feed that back into your ad platform.
Love it. Who creates the content that you're talking about at the beginning, like the free video, that type of thing? Is that us, or is that?
Yeah, that's you. That's you.
Okay.
And you don't have to have that, by the way. You don't need that.
No, I know. I'm just trying to get a sense, because like Brian said, I got a couple of different businesses, and I'd really love to just value add for my, mortgage people, so that they actually, I understand at the beginning that it's cold traffic, but if I can get some people interested and say, wow, Mike Shine is really the resource for closings in these states, that would be huge. Even if it's only a 5% open rate, but we're, 2,000 people are looking at it, who cares? I'm not,
Yeah. 100%. That's the beauty of it. And then if you widen the aperture of what you're talking about, you can actually have a lot more ways to hook them. So it's not just talking about real estate. You're talking to agents, for example.
Yeah.
Agents care a lot. They care about closing and real estate, but they also care about like market data and economic trends. And depending on the type of them and their age, they might be into like their mindset and their productivity and their all those kinds of. There's like a lot of ways
Nice.
you can, like you could call it like the super agent insider,
Yeah.
like
I like
like
it.
how to be a super agent, like you got to sell, you take care of your body, take care of your mindset. There's a million ways you could take the positioning of it.
Nice. And you help, your company helps with that, like when we're setting it up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the way that it works is you fill out a survey, you go through a 45-minute onboarding call, and my team literally does the rest of it for you. Your positioning, the AI brainstorm with what should your newsletter be about. The survey takes about 25 minutes to fill out. It'll ask you who's your avatar and the market, ask you about your content and all that stuff. We literally take the export of whatever you type in there, so the more text you put, the better, and feed it into our product to help begin making your newsletter. Yeah.
how about geographical location? Because I'm Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Florida. So I don't need people in Nebraska.
Yeah, well, you can fix that in a handful of ways. Number one, if it's cold traffic, don't just advertise into those markets.
That's easy to do on Facebook, Michael, geographically.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I can help you with some of that too.
Thank you.
Even
Thank you.
creating a lead magnet, something you either write or a video or a webinar that you run.
I have a book, remember?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Fast Track to
There you go.
Millions. I'll give it away free.
Yeah.
So far, I've got
That's
like
it.
$2 in royalties.
Yeah.
The other thing that people do is interviews. Just get like an expert that's like really regarded, pay them to do a 45-minute interview, and then that's
We'll get Kyle on there. Kyle Saber, #1 realtor in the country.
Well, you don't want to get him because they'll all go to his traffic.
Yeah.
Be careful of that.
Better not.
Hey Joe, I wasn't even thinking about the ad share and stuff. With the matrix, what we do in Mindset, would that be a good ad to run on other people's? Because we do a very high rev share as well, like 25%.
100%.
So I'm very intrigued in that. So like I said, we're gonna go forward. I already just texted Maddie. So so explain to me. So is this just a pure exit play, or is there gonna be like quarterly distributions along the way?
Nope. Just we're going for an exit. Like my unique gift to the business of entrepreneurship is 3 to 4 year time frames. Come in, blow it up, sell it, move on.
Okay. And loosely speaking, and I know you can't answer this with any certainty. If somebody did 100K chunk, I don't know what it represents for a percentage of the company, but what would what would you expect an exit? Like you said 8 to 14 multiple, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. So I mean, if you think about like you do 100K, we end up raising, I don't know, I'm going to do a bunch of math in my head, which is not going to be my strongest suit right now at the end of the day. But if you put 100K in and we were to raise, $5 million and sell 25% of the company, you can start to back in and, so you're basically all the investors own 25% of the company, and your 100,000 divided by 5 million is that percentage of that you would effectively represent. And then if we go and get the business to 10 million in revenue in the next 2 years and sell it for $100 million, you can sort of do the math on what kind of exit that would look like for you. The nice thing about investing right now, that is the most important thing I haven't mentioned yet, is we're going to do a price round, and our target for the price round is 5 million on 25 posts. So you'll get a doubling of your paper investment like within the year, if assuming we're successful with that, and I have every reason to believe that we will be. So the other thing is, for anybody that does make a direct investment, we give you a year of the newsletter for free. So yeah,
cool.
Gotcha.
So another question. #1, can you use your self-directed IRA?
Yep.
Can you invest? Okay.
Yes.
And #2, I don't know if I missed it, but Is there like any preferred returns or any sort of return of the capital, or it's not like that?
No, it's an exit.
No, there's no pref.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going for an
Okay.
exit.
3 to 5 year exit.
Yeah.
But you got
Okay.
the same equity that I got. So, and I'm also invested in the company. I'm not just the CEO. Like that's how much I believe in this. So
You're also a client.
that's right. It's a hair club for men of AI newsletters.
Joe, what's
So when
the
you said we
investment?
get, oh, sorry, one more thing, Len,
What-
sorry. When you
Yeah,
get
sorry.
the newsletter free for a year, that means you get to use it for your business for a year, you're saying? Is that the
You use it for whatever you want for 1 year. One
sweet
newsletter, 1 year. Yep.
minimum investment, 100K or
Yeah. We're gonna do 50 for elites.
50? Gotcha.
Yep.
Right.
Cool. That was my question.
Sorry, Len.
No, that's fine, Michael. We're okay yet.
Okay.
So, Brian, when is this going to come out? Because I think I need Beth to see this video because of
I'll try to flip it
her
out
multiple.
Yeah.
What I know is I don't know enough about the social media end of this, but I know she has a ton of followers, and I know that between her bench project business and her other things
The
that she's
ideal-
involved with,
This is
mindset,
ideal
and-
for the bench project.
right. And so but I want her to see this so she can talk with Joe or one of the reps
Sure.
and then move forward with that. But that's what I'm thinking for her.
Yeah. I'm happy to have that chat. I'll just say that I forgot to caveat this for anyone that's here or watching this that's actually a member of the Access Insiders with Dave Steck. My encouragement would be that you actually invest through the FPV. The minimum is less than 50, so you have some flexibility there. And then if you do the downside of that is that you don't get the free newsletter. But that being said, you do get Dave and the family to manage the overall SPV, and you're part of a much bigger chunk of the investment. And so Dave can basically advocate as a larger voice in the cap table over time, which is another risk mitigation as a small investor. So if you're in Access Insider, they're doing an SPV, and I would definitely encourage you to reach out to them. And if not, you can just reach out to me, and I can help you figure out like what's the best next step for you if you're not in Access Insiders, for example. I just wanted to make that clear because in parallel, they're also reaching out to everyone, including the members of the Elite 100 that are part of that, to fulfill if they raise their hand for the investment. So I want to honor that, and I want to make sure that they can fulfill on that. And also, if you're in that group and you wanted to invest less than 50, then that would be a way to do it.
Mhm.
Oh,
Is it
Mike, you're on
Muted.
mute.
Just
Is it the same valuation in the SPV or
Same
private?
terms.
Okay,
Exact
so
same terms.
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I've noticed with my equity trust self-directed Roth IRA that I did an investment in another opportunity recently, and it took a long time to get it over there. So
Mhm.
how does that work if like we commit by July 7th, but because of administrative crap, it takes like a month for them to actually get the money in your hand? How does that work?
Yep. I'm not sure what the circumstances of that were in the past, but I just understand that trusts and self-directed IRAs have a little bit of a different, they're a little bit of a different animal,
Yeah.
which is part of the reason why it's really difficult to accept those in SPVs, for example. But that being said, we just want you to commit. So just sign the docs. I mean, it's literally like we use Carta.
Mhm.
So you'll fill
Yeah.
out the safe note, add all your stuff in there, and then I can either give you wire information or you can just use their automated ACH, and you just pass that along to your the person that
Equity, yeah.
facilitates your trust, your IRA, and they'll take it from there.
That's what happened with the last investment. So we signed the documents, committed to it and all that stuff, and then sent it to Equity Trust, and they had questions. They reviewed the note, all that good stuff.
Yep.
And then, like I said, like a month later, they wired the money to that investment. It all worked out. It just took longer than.
Yeah, you just gotta stay on top of them, and they're doing their
Yeah.
job. So we're no strangers to that.
But you were just saying that if you were doing a self-directed IRA, it's not as easy to go into the access. I'm in access, so I could do either or. So if it's
Yeah.
coming out of,
Well, I spoke to Dave this morning, and like if I could snap my fingers, I would actually prefer that you invest via the SPV and do it through your self-directed trust, unless it's
Okay.
with a very specific trust though, or self-directed or a very specific trust. AngelList does not, we only accept it from one company. So that's what makes it hairy. So
Okay.
and then also, of course, like we have a little bit of a higher minimum to do a direct investment. But that being said, we can be flexible on those in those cases, but I don't think the AngelList is flexible as a result of that.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. Any other
All right.
questions, guys? All right, Joe, thanks, brother. Thanks for presenting this. We'll get the recording out. We'll get it into the WhatsApp channel for Elite, and we'll ask them respectfully not to share it outside of that. Lenny, if
Yeah.
if you're showing somebody, just watch it with them or something. Anybody watching this, if you're gonna share it, just please watch it with them on a Zoom or something. We just don't want the recording to get outside of the Elite. So,
Right.
Okay.
perfect.
Joe, thank you so much.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, brother. Looks
Yeah.
really good.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Joe.
Have a good
Good
one.
to see you again. Good
Have
to
a great
see
night,
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys
Good night.
on Tuesday.
All right, bud.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Bye.